Hello there, I'm Kerry. If you've heard of Nordstrand Audio, you probably already know I've been designing and making bass guitars, pickups, and other fun musical things for more than 20 years now. Well, keeping a small company alive is a stressful endeavor, and eventually it caught up with me when I was diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma of the tongue in 2020. A profoundly challenging and traumatic treatment during a global pandemic offered me an opportunity for real change. Suddenly, I became obsessed with really sorting out why I do what I do every day. It's recently become apparent the most effective way to achieve some clarity in this regard is through the pursuit of unconditional curiosity. What is unconditional curiosity? Well, let's ask my most favorite question, what wants to happen, and find out together.
Hey guys, this is kind of a new thing I'm doing, but I've been working on this yard here for, well, 2-3 years now. And I'm going to show you the transition from what it was to what it is today, and we're in early, almost mid-March 2025 right now. It's comfortable outside right now. I just want to give you a reference for the temperature because we're going to go in my greenhouse over here, which is going to be surprisingly warm. And I'll talk about what I've learned about having a greenhouse in Southern California. But anyway, I want to show you my yard real quick, so let's go out here and take a look. We have this little screen porch that we built here. Let me go that way, buddy. And it's just really allowed us to have this much deeper, more connected relationship with this space, which I think is pretty critical when you're doing this kind of thing, because you want to be able to sit with it and be in it. And this way we can kind of be in it without being in it, but it's all here. And I sit and look around and think about things and smoke a little bit in the morning and kind of get inspired to kind of go crazy. So anyway, let's just do a quick what's around, and then we'll go in the greenhouse and then maybe get in a little bit more details. There's a pool in the middle of this, which if I could get rid of it, I would. But in Southern California, it's nice to have. It just doesn't kind of fit the ethos of what's going on here. But we might get creative with this someday if I can. So this is just this is my cooking area, and then I put this maple tree. This was a fire pit years ago, and then I decided to make it. I needed some shade right here because the sun comes right across this way. And so this is a Bloodgood Japanese maple here. It's starting its 3rd year in the ground. And then there's a grapevine coming over here, over there. Wood-fired oven. Grapes are right here. This is just a Thompson's table grape, and there's a red one. So this kind of was one of the spots I did first, because there was a bright light on the neighbor's house over there, and I figured I wanted to block it. Especially if we're sitting over there. So this is just high enough to block that light from your eyeballs. But I've got hops here, and there's a wisteria just about to pop right up here. That's an almond tree. It's a pluot I just put in the ground a month ago. It's just starting. Look at this. It's just starting to go. Typical Southern Californian, screen type evergreen tree plants that you find in your local home store. And these are all going to go away. Probably maybe not these two, because they're a very nice screen up there. But the almond's going to start filling this in a bit more. This is going to come out. I'm going to put a couple other trees in here. And I just put some squash in the ground right here, gray squash. And zucchini, and they're gonna go up over this. I made this short intentionally because I like the idea that sometimes you gotta get down to go through somewhere into something else. And and also I've got grandkids, and they're gonna get a kick out of this. So bird feeder, I just put this here. This was a mess. This had some brassicas and things in it, some potatoes here. Just kind of redoing this area. This has all been about transition and waiting and trying to understand them. All this is kind of always changing, but fundamentally I'm trying to have food trees here and there. This is a Midland peach right here, which only needs 250 chill hours, which is appropriate for where we're at, and it's going less and less every year. And then this is a burgundy plum. Stinging nettle that's just come up on its own here, and I absolutely adore stinging nettle, so wherever I find it, I let it grow. This was kind of just a half-ass compost spot more than a bin. And so again, I'm using this stuff I have around, and this is not, I mean, this is cobbled and pieced together in a most bizarre way, but if it functions, I don't care. Plus it looks kind of cool and it shows creativity.
The inputs I don't want are anything that I need to go to a store and buy. Anything that's fed to us by a giant marketing industry as being essential for having a successful garden and controlling your weeds and gardening is not about controlling the way I'm trying to get at this here. It's about assisting. And so regenerative gardening is about making your own inputs, which means using things such as lactic acid bacteria. I use a lot of compost tea. I have one bubbling all the time. So I have a compost pile. Everything that I trim out of the yard gets recycled back into the yard. So that's not buying inputs. Pest control, same thing. There are a few small companies in the cannabis space that make some good pest controls that I like, and I don't mind patronizing them. Again, they're local California companies, so to me, I want to support good businesses that are doing good things. So there are some products that I will acquire in that space that I don't consider as part of the petroleum paradigm. So that's the inputs I'm talking about when I say I'm not getting inputs. When I say I put inputs into the yard. It was the initial sort of restart from a traditional Southern California, grass, lawn, backyard, consuming water and fertilizer and pesticides. We're getting away from that and trying to build soil health, and the best way to do that is to put a lot of natural organic matter in the system quickly, which is what I did by bringing the mulch and the soil in the quantities that I did. So that's the type of input that I like. Now that kind of input should be one and done. Once you've got a system going, you may need to make adjustments here and there, and if anything you can acquire locally, organically, that's the way to go as far as inputs are concerned. That I actually will use as good inputs to get the whole thing started. Once we're done and the system is established, it should generate its own inputs regeneratively. That's what this is all about. Yeah, everything is regenerative. Regenerative is the word that we're using. There are a lot of other things going on in this space these days right now, and I'll get into what I've learned. You plant some seeds and you get food, and everything else is done here, for here, by here. It's nature, man. This is what you can do with nature. There's an oak tree right here, and I put this in the ground 2 years, actually only a year ago? Good Lord, she's going fast. But I've trimmed some sideways branches to help it go more vertical. I just want this to kind of come up and fill this space here. This is a great spot to come over and just kind of, smoke your doob or drink your wine or just chill out. I really like hanging out around here. But I'm trying to make it more mysterious, I guess. So you want to kind of explore it and find little spots where you can sit and kind of enjoy all the stuff that's going on. Even in your own backyard, if you start letting it kind of get a little crazy. I mean, all the birds and the light changing and the wind and all of that stuff. So, gotta have contemplative spots in your yard and garden. This is a screen house, and again, I was gifted an old pergola worth of, this is all redwood, which if you were to go buy all this white stuff, it's an old pergola, and it's all redwood, so it was like saved me thousands of dollars on wood if I wanted to build all this stuff. As a matter of fact,
now that I'm starting to figure out how to make things more efficiently, this is a little gluttonous in its use of this wood. So there are other ways to do things that are more efficient. But this is what I ended up with. It needs to be finished out here. This is the same kind of screen as we use on the porch. Right now I've got a San Fernando Valley OG plant. Raspberry. See, I was so excited about this stinging nettle. It found its way into this pot, and now I have a stinging nettle I can move around my yard wherever I have pests or other weird things and I want a stinging nettle to hang out. This is a nectarine, and it's just starting to go. Another couple weeks, it's going to be amazing back here. Even more, man. I mean, it's already great. Don't get me wrong. But I just put these flowers in, and I don't know what they are. I've been way more focused on veggies than flowers, but I'm learning about flowers for pollinators and why and when. So I figure if I go to the nursery once a month and I buy something that's flowering, and then I put it in my yard, I should have the whole year covered with flowers. I used to do bonsai years and years ago, and this is a juniper I've had for a long time, probably 20 years. And it always just kind of hung out in a sad state, and I finally decided, all right, I had a bunch of trees and I lost them when I was going through cancer treatment. I just didn't have the bandwidth to make sure they were going to survive. And I had probably at one point maybe 60 trees that were bonsai or bonsai in progress. This is what's left. So this is a black pine that I'm playing with. It needs a bunch of attention, but I wired it just to try to get it to kind of go down and spread out. This is a box elder. I'm also trying to do something with like a bonsai with this. This needs a good healthy pruning here shortly to kind of bring it back down. But it's just got this cool bark on it. It looks old already, and it got hit by lightning or something. And then this is one of my very favorite Japanese maples, and it's just starting to pop. This one gets a really nice salmon pink kind of vibe. Murasaki Kiyohime is the varietal name on that. It's going to be a lot warmer. In California, I mean, this is a death house if you don't run it right. It's not as hot as I thought it would be in here, but yeah. So I just put these these are just like caulking gun glued into place. Not the top layer here, but the rest of it. It's actually surprisingly robust. And then I filled in my planting mix and my mulch on top. And just yesterday I put some corn in here. I don't know if it's a good idea or not, but we're gonna find out. I got some tomatoes in here. This is actually a 2-year-old mini chocolate bell pepper, just like this one. I just got this new one yesterday. And then this is also a shishito pepper, which, you know, looks like it's gonna go again. So these are year-old plants already. And then I got, look at this, yay, peas coming in. And there's turnips and some other interesting things in here. I just threw a bunch of seeds in. Oh, and there's this is a raspberry parfait. This was a plant I took some cuttings off of and just threw it out here. And then on this side, I got, I just put in a couple more of those squash, the same ones I got out there for the terrace, or for the trellis. I'll probably put some trellis up here so they can go up the side. And I got another tomato plant. And then I put this fig in the ground, because figs are super tolerant of hot places, and I'm hoping it can grow up and help me kind of control, because when the sun comes around right about here, it's about a zillion degrees in here. Which is why when I designed it, I put a back door on it. Because then suddenly it's not blazing hot in here. 4x4 planting boxes, which is again, it seems like a gluttonous use of wood right now, and those are redwood. So this, when I did this in 2016, cost me $2,500 in wood. Maybe not that much, but it was way a lot. Anyway, these things are bulletproof, and I've got some Japanese maples in here. This is a plum. It was sold to me as a bonsai, and it was this big, and you can kind of see the original trunk back there, and it's just going crazy in here. And it's sort of this, again, a shade plant for the greenhouse when the sun comes over the middle. And it was sold as being fruitless, but I'm pretty sure that's because you need another one to pollinate it. And so I got some other things around here that might pollinate it, but the flower timing is a little weird this year. So, and then the bees, who knows? But maybe I'll get some fruit on it. I got one little tiny one last year. My wife and I actually got married in a version of this in 2020. So this is going to change a lot. And that's kind of the theme of the whole thing, is that it's always in transition, of course, just like nature. So it's just kind of paying attention and wondering what wants to happen, of course. And over here, these were lemon trees that were here when we bought the house. And this is a Oro Blanco grapefruit, which is nice. It's starting to pop. Look at that. I haven't seen that kind of growth on it yet. This is exciting. But it's probably because of all this mulch I put in here. And this is my little mint bed right here. I love me some chocolate mint, just the best. And then there's like a regular mint, and then more chocolate mint, and then there's a orange mint, and a strawberry one, and it's starting to come together. This is thyme here also. So this was built to be like a grilling zone where I could keep all of my absurd number of outdoor cooking equipment that I've accumulated over my 54 years. I used to post a lot of cooking content, and people got into my stuff and would come to me at trade shows and go, man, those ribs you posted the other day. Anyway, this is my favorite charcoal grill right here, and it's called the PK 360. And if you're gonna buy one grill, that's the one to get. And if you're gonna be a complete maniac 54-year-old, build your own setup out of a material handling cart and a whole bunch of cinder blocks and some flame-proof bricks and this crazy thing you bought on Alibaba for $220 from China. It's like a copy of an American one, and I wish I had the money and paid like the guy that made these hand grills for something like this, but it's like an extra zero to get the same thing. So anyway, this was all stuff I had laying around. I didn't buy anything to complete this. I had bought this brasero, which is a Brazilian, Argentinian style thing. You burn coals down and then you scoop your coals and you cook on the coals. So I've had that laying around, just was been around. So it was just a matter of putting the bricks in here in the right order in the right place to get it all to stand up. And then I cook on this thing. I can hang, this thing is obscenely versatile. I even have a rotisserie, a Brazilian rotisserie I can put right here. So the coolest thing about this thing, I could just roll it. I mean, it's obscenely heavy. It probably weighs 1,000 pounds. But I can pull it out so the fire isn't here, so it's up in the air. And then when I'm done, I can shove it back. So, just a crazy, kind of, you know, sitting there contemplating, what's all this stuff in the yard? What if I rearrange that stuff? Might be useful. And yeah, this is kind of, if I'm gonna do live fire or charcoal, this Argentine style thing is friggin' amazing. Just this whole V-grate arrangement with the way it doesn't let too much heat through, but it lets enough, and then the juice drains off and you put it back on top. This is one of my favorite ways to cook, to grill stuff over live fire. So, oh, big green egg. This was my original serious cooking device, which I have a Weber grill here. It's actually at the shop. I have a Weber grill also, and it's over at the shop for cookouts at the shop. But a Weber grill is honestly, if you're clever and watch a lot of videos showing you how to do the different things, you can do almost anything on it, really. And there's a lot of extra devices you can buy for it to make it this or that a little better at it. But I had that, and then these were starting to become a little more visible in the world. They were kind of a regional fad for a long time in the southeast. And I bought one. There was one at a local store here in town, and it was the best investment I ever made in outdoor cooking. But I, as one does, got into offset smokers, and I have a KBQ, which is an updraft thermostat controlled smoker, which is amazing and crazy, but it's a lot of work to make food on that. So I gave my green egg to my dad for 10 years, and he was a Weber guy. He's where I got the Weber thing from. Still is a Weber guy, because he didn't hardly use this, and after 10 years he gave it back to me, and it was just like riding a bicycle. This thing, if you're gonna have one smoker, this one, if you're gonna have one grill / smoker, the PK360 is. Anyway, I love cooking with real fire instead of